Welcome to the Viper's Pit. I'm Derek, joined with Jason, Joel, and our special guest, the man behind JoeFest. We've got Ed. Ed, thank you so much for joining us.
How you doing, guys?
We're doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. Joel's got a heck of a collection behind him.
Joel does have a heck of a collection. It's distracting sometimes because I'm just looking behind him trying to identify the pieces, and we're going to have to probably post a picture of that at some point for the listeners to see exactly what it is. I see it looks like the back of some Skyhawks in there, and some True Heroes giant copters, and that's the Beast Bomber up there too, right?
Yeah, we got a Beast Bomber. We got whatever that gray helicopter is. That, in my opinion, was a little bit of a letdown when I got it in hand. It was a little bit more toyish than it looked in like the press photos.
That's a problem with the True Hero stuff, I think.
Yes. Then you got a Tomahawk.
Yeah.
You got what do they call it? An Eagle Hawk.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got something. Whatever the word was for the 50th Arctic Skyhawk, and then there was I
think they just started putting two birds' names together, right? They were just like the Eagle Hawks, like there's this.
The Ghost Hawk.
The Ghost Hawk, Eagle Hawk, Tomahawk, Sparrow Hawk, whatever bird names they could do.
I can't remember. I want to say it was the core. I ended up getting them at Big Lots, but there's these like drones that came with launchers that they don't actually launch, obviously, but
right, yeah.
They were showing up at Ollie's for like $5 or $6, and it came with a throwaway figure, a bunch of toss-away accessories. But what I ended up liking even more than the drones were it came with they're buried away somewhere, but these like rubber nets that looked like you could hook them to the hook in a Eagle Hawk or whatever, and you could like pick up cargo with it. So I ended up buying as many as I could find just for those like rubber squares that are like this big.
Oh, that's dope.
And we got post-op medicated Jason with us, who I thought he was wearing a house coat, but he's not. At least maybe by episode 5 he'll break out the house coat, but for now
we'll see the real side of him.
Yeah,
the velour slippers.
There you go. So you were the one who brought Ed to us for the episode. We were excited when we had a chance to. Now I know you've got a ton of questions for Ed. I'll let you get to that in a second. So I think the main thing we want to start off with is what was the concept behind JoeFest, Ed? So at some point you decided you wanted to put on the show. How did that come about?
That's probably a good question, but I've been always wanting to do it. It's the biggest show around here is Toylanta, and went to that for a number of years, and it's always a great time. Always a good time there. A lot of 12-inch dealers, so they're getting more 4-inch, 3 3/4. But then it was JoeCon during the summer, and then I would go up to the show in Ohio. They have the Ohio Toy and Comic Show. That's a pretty good little show, and then you had CoilCon at the end of the year. But JoeCon was probably, because of the official status of it, everybody would go to that one.
Right.
And once they announced it was going away, I got to thinking about it, and it was what was the best part of JoeCon to you guys?
So I was only able to make one JoeCon because the last few years, another con that's close to your house, a few hours away, Ed, is Heroes Con, and that's sort of my every year I go to. So I missed the last couple, and are you going to be there this year?
Yeah.
Oh, buddy. Same. So
yeah, it's only 2 hours from here, so it's.
Right. Yeah, and so when I was able to go to JoeCon, for me, JoeCon was very much had the meetup in the Midwest feel to it at a much grander scale, and so by the end of the weekend, we were everyone I know was calling JoeCon summer camp for Joes, summer camp for toys, And to me, that was the funnest part, or the most fun, Jesus. The most fun part of JoeCon was, I interact in this community on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook, and seeing these people, shaking their hands, getting to interact with them in person. There's nothing better. And then it's in the backdrop of millions of something we all have a ton of passion for.
You nailed it. I couldn't have said it any better. And the great part is, you didn't say nothing about the toys. You didn't say, well, I want to go buy the exclusives, or I want to go, because you can get in any group and buy anything you want any time of day, or eBay, but it's the camaraderie of hanging out with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that. And when I went to Chattanooga last year, I've only been to a couple. I went to Orlando, Chattanooga. Was there another one? Maybe not. Maybe it was only 2 I've been to. But I think that was what they excelled at, was the people being together, and the all-night partying, and the good times with it.
Mm-hmm.
And once Chattanooga came about, and all the talk leading up to it, and then when it ended, it was like, wait a minute, that could be the last time we all hang out.
Right.
So what do you do then? So, we ran a little show last year in April to see how it would do. And like you said, like a meetup show. And we had 1,100 people show up.
That's fantastic. So, that's something, Ed, and I haven't talked to Joel and Derek about this, but at Heroes Con last year,
mm-hmm.
I'm talking with my artist friends, and I walk past Chad Bauer's table, and Chad is sitting with, I can't remember who he's sitting beside, but they always sit beside each other. And Chad sees my arm, and so he shouts out, we start chatting. I ask him if he's going to JoeCon, and he goes, I don't even know where JoeCon is, but have you heard of JoeFest? You guys had just launched. It was a small show, and already people were talking about it. So I was immediately ears perked up. So I wasn't at JoeFest year 1, but it sounds like you nailed it with as much press as you've been getting since.
You went to JoeCon. JoeCon, it was about, I want to say, maybe a quarter of the size, the facility.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was that it was my fault. I kept over promising, well, hey, if somebody cancels, you can come set up. And next thing you know, we had people there, and they wound up setting up all around the hotel in front. They put up tents and vendors set up. It was like a big block party. It was something to see. It really was. And we charged $5 to get in, but there was 2 doors. We couldn't stop everybody. There was just too many people.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It was a great day. It really was. And it's not like you walked away. It's like, well, wow, I'm rich now. I can retire. It wasn't the whole point. The whole point was to have some fun and see if we could do a pre-run on this. And it went too well. So when JoeCon said they were going away, it just seemed natural.
Right.
To try to move the summer. The only bad thing is that it's the week after Heroes. Yeah. That's one negative thing. And
for you and I, but for a lot of people,
Heroes is comics, we're toys. So, I don't, and it's still 2 hours away. I don't think the people from Atlanta, unless they're diehard comics fans, are driving to Charlotte. It's 4.5 hours,
Mm-hmm.
So,
well,
they can get to us.
That kind of brings something up that you mentioned. Now, I've noticed all these shows tend to be in the Midwest, and even if they're in the Midwest, they tend to be more on the eastern side of the Midwest. Is from now that you've done this, is there a reason why shows typically don't make their way out further west? Is it a population thing, or because to me, if even if let's say Heroes Con is going, and that might be some sort of a competition for con goers' dollars, would having something on the other side of the country where those people, because that's the only reason why I won't be able to make the JoeFest, is because from Arizona there, that's more of a long trip. That's not something I can just drive down
Sure.
to.
Sure.
Is there thought to possibly doing stuff further out west?
There is just talk of maybe rotating it. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
bad thing is for me is that, I work for a living.
Right.
So this isn't really the job. And I can tell you the amount of hours that you put in doing this with the
Oh,
social media and all,
yeah.
and then having to deal with the venue.
Mm-hmm.
At least having it close by,
No, that's
I'm
true.
able to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, being down mostly from Florida most of my life, we went down to Jacksonville 2 weekends ago,
Mm-hmm.
and just looking at all the people there, and
Right.
with the lineup we had this year, knowing that we could pack a house there,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, part of it is Augusta's a little bit of a logistical nightmare.
Right.
The airport situation it's miserable. It's got one small airport. You can get in here, but the connector flights and all that, it's a pain in the what. So
They're
I'm
going to know your
thinking
name.
major city. It's got to be. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
I
but
don't know where that is yet.
JoeCon had a business and a team behind it, so it was somebody's full-time job to find the next venue.
Mm-hmm.
And the community, for better or for worse, always complained that wherever they chose wasn't close to them.
Right.
Mhm.
And sometimes, if you only do one show a year, fly to it. It's you get out of your neighborhood and then you get to see your friends.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that strikes me with JoeFest, Ed, is that we're sort of glossing over the fact that like you've made your bones in the Joe community. Over how many years have you been doing this?
Yeah, so it's only been about like 4 or 5 years, really. But it's been a lot of hard work too. It's a lot of meeting people, making connections, and my goal was always to draw people together. And if I figured if you were together, good things can happen.
Mm-hmm.
But and Jason, being in all these groups and whatnot, there's a lot of divide in these groups, and that's been the part that I've been trying to tackle, is to try to unify some. I mean, we're all in the same groups. That's the problem. But yet there's division. I can't figure it out, And it's because he said, she said. It's like, kindergarten. It's,
Which
children with toys.
you wouldn't really expect. And I think when I joined the GI Joe online community, I was a little surprised because I didn't think that there would be, and maybe that was just being naive on my part, but I didn't know that there would be that many people who would find ways to divide a community of toy collectors, adult toy collectors. To me, I just thought, hey, we're all in the same weird boat together. Maybe we would just all kind of get along. But it is surprising to me, the divide that you mentioned. I have noticed it, and I know Joel's noticed it, and Jason even points out that the divide seems to change based on the platform. The divide's different on Facebook than it is on Instagram. And,
Well, the communities are certainly different,
mm-hmm.
and every community does have its own stress points.
Mm-hmm.
And Facebook being where you can write 4 novels and post up your opinions has a different way of communicating, and so different stress points than Instagram, which is a bit smaller of a communication platform, and then Twitter, which is much faster.
Yeah.
And so so Ed, talking about the divide between all the groups, a lot of people are fans of the A-Raw group because a lot of us collect O-Ring, and then one of the things that differentiates Rec Room is you're not just O-Ring specifically, are you? What else differentiates the Rec Room from some of the other larger groups. And I know there's a ton of them. And I'm mentioning one, but I know there's like 5 or 6 big ones.
Yeah.
You're one of the big ones.
A-Raw is, like you said, O-ring and whatnot. So that's good there. I've always built a Rec Room on discussion, which, there's some buying and selling, but if you're going to go in there to, sell, it's probably not the place that you're going to get top dollar. You'll sell it, but it's not going to go for the premium. That's really the PX. The PX is built on buying and selling to me. So each has got their own little thing. But as far as like the division goes, there's a competition. Everybody's got to be better than the other one, and we've since had talks with Rob Ross, Warren Zelinsky, Gallimore. I mean, we're all trying to kind of come together now, because you start dividing like this, you're only gonna fall. And I gave them all a spot, panel time in the show, so they can do meetups at the convention. So, I mean, okay, you don't have to like that group, but somebody else does. So, if we all have a place to meet, that's what I'm building it around, is a place to meet.
Right.
And it's just the way I feel. I mean, I had a message, I don't know, say 2 weeks ago. I can't believe you have cosplayers as guests. I said, what do you mean by that? And they go, well, they don't really do anything. Well, it's not for you, but there are people that are. I see them as artists. They're artists to me. Put a lot of time and effort into it, just as much as somebody else does buying, a mint figure, So.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, I'm looking at your guest list, and it's without par.
Right.
It's without par. It's a huge guest list. It's beautiful.
It is.
And in talking about bringing people together, I mean, you have Blomo and Kavanaugh, and and Kling & Smith, some of our premier, sort of independent writers. You have
music. Joe Declassify. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Great guy.
I went after every person that has any type of connection to G.I. Joe, but I also, being in the groups, the term elitist is out there.
Sure.
I didn't want that. I wanted somebody that all the people I built this convention around, you can approach. They're nice people. They'll talk to you. They won't look down on you. It's got to be fun. It's got to be friendly.
Well, you mentioned Dan Music. You mentioned Joe Declassified. And since you guys weren't at JoeCon, Joe Declassified is something that, every year for I don't know how long, 20 some odd years, they've been just amassing this esoteric, beautiful, deep dive data on G.I. Joe. And I guess at conventions, they always do something interesting. And so for the last convention, they reached out to everyone they knew. They gathered this crazy pool of 2-ups and head sculpts. It was enormous. It was crazy. And Ed, you mentioned, bringing Dan Music out. I knew Dan from the boards. I'd never met Dan. I met him at JoeCon for the first time face to face, and at 4:00 in the morning, I'm probably going to mispronounce his name, but growing, one of the concept artists from Hasbro back in the day, comes over and he was like, "Guys, are you going to bed?" and like walks off. And I'm standing there with Dan Moore, also from Declassified, and Adam Skomoski from, several different Joe groups. Ed, you and Adam know each other well. And we're all sitting there. It's 4 a.m. It's like, this is JoeCon, and we're about to just see the sunrise. Let's go to bed. So I find it really exciting to see your list, and to see that you've also brought in Toylanta, CoilCon, and Kentuckiana, which are different shows, and to be able to give the space to promote someone else's show is also a beautiful thing.
If they don't survive, I don't survive.
Right.
We have to unify. We have to. And I've been trying, these other shows they're in agreement. It's not a competition. We're all different times a year. Okay, yeah, maybe somebody will go to this one or not the other one. But maybe next year they'll go to yours and not the. I mean, but there can't be a competition. It can't be. It's. I don't know. It's just the way I've always been. It's. Of course, everybody wants to be the best. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's what they want, but.
Well, you can be the best by also spotlighting others, and I think that you're kind of showing that as an example, because JoeFest has just kind of leaped to the forefront, and you haven't been trying to stand on anybody else's shoulders or put anybody down with JoeFest.
No.
So I think that kind of exemplifies what we were just talking about, as far as just kind of the rising tide raises all the boats.
My biggest regret is that I didn't go to the Sunday. I wish I would have done the whole weekend, because I'm saying with them, everybody hanging out with each other and all, you kind of need that extra day. That's why I did the Friday night. It's just the cost of the hotel was so much more, because they charge you actually to have the room overnight, which, are you serious? And that was as much as it cost to set up all day long. So you're paying basically double for Sunday. I couldn't do it myself, this year. So,
So some of the things that when I'm looking at your guys' website, and I've talked to others, there's a couple really inspired events here. Ron and Jenny are celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary with you guys, and you're inviting. Yeah, you're inviting people to participate with them and celebrate with them. You mentioned to us that you did that you're doing the photo contest. I saw there's a customizing class. Like, what else are you shooting for here that maybe I missed in terms of other events?
Cosplay we're doing. We also do a quick sketch contest every year.
Okay.
First year, so this will be another one, and it's judged by Robert Atkins and guys that. Yeah, so same thing, we got trophies for that. Last year, because we were Augusta, we actually did cosplay mini golf outside.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I just got to see if I have enough staffing to do that, but it was kind of cool because it gave the kids something to do, because a lot of times if you go to a con, you walk through it once and you leave. My goal last year was to keep people there as long as I could. Besides, having panels, I wanted activities. And last year we did the mini golf, and the winner actually got an original drawing from Robert Atkins for winning it of their choice. So
nice.
That's a big prize. Robert Atkins' art is incredible.
A lot of work. Yeah. So, I don't know. I got more up my sleeve. I've been searching town trying to find a tank. Let's just leave it at that. But
man,
yeah, we got a pretty big base here. So
Slaughter's going to the convention, right? He might know where to find a tank for you. I feel like he might have some inns in some places. You might be able to procure one of those.
He'll roll up a tank with no coverage.
I can tell you the lady that I'm dealing with at the hotel there. She's a little nervous.
Oh yeah.
So, last year we did it at this. It was called the Hilton Garden Inn. And, it's a medium-sized hotel, right?
Right.
I tried telling them, you got all these rooms booked. You better staff the facility.
Right.
No. We're okay. You're okay. It's not going to be that big. They wound up the manager on the floor that night was also the bartender. That poor girl. I mean, she about quit the job the next day. I mean, it was too much,
Right.
So,
Well, yeah, I mean, we're all in our 30s and 40s,
Mhm.
50s. I mean, we have the disposable income, and the families are back home.
Hmm.
We will play, and
Yeah.
that's
The interesting thing you brought up about the dinner, the 50th anniversary dinner. I had messaged Ron, in the beginning. I said about coming. He goes, "Wow, it's my anniversary that day, that weekend. It's the 50th. It's kind of a big deal." I says, "Well, then I don't want you here. You
Right.
can't do that to you. Out of the blue, I'm at work one day, I get a PM from him. He goes, "Look, Ed," he goes, "been thinking about it. My wife says that it's more important for him to be here where he's loved than it is to be celebrating one day where they could kind of do something, maybe another day or whatever." She felt it was that important for him to be here.
Wow.
He, just the tone of his text, he was real giddy about it. So I had to figure out something. And when I talked to the agent for Sergeant Slaughter, I brought it up. He
Mhm.
wants to be a keynote speaker at it.
Mhm.
Oh
So
wow.
we're going to do like, I don't want to say roast because we're not going to make fun of him. Like
Right.
a celebratory thing. We're going to have all the guests from the show there getting up and doing a little talking, little, mentioning about things. And I get Joe Colton and John Anderson and Carson. I don't know how to
Nice.
say his name. Matt
Yeah.
Animus.
We know.
From 3D Joe's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carson 3D Joes.
So
Yeah.
I
This
I
is
had the
sounding.
opportunity to meet Ron in August, and then talk to him a few more times because I got a commission from him, and he's a sweetheart of a human. His wife was also very sweet, and then some Nashville local guys. I guess they're friends with them, and so I was really excited to see that you had them coming, that you were doing this sort of grand event for them. That's really special, Ed. It's
Yeah.
kind of neat.
And then Kirk, when I approached Kirk, and he jumped on it really pretty quickly. I think he realized without a joke on, what's left,
Right.
You
So
know,
he says,
Kirk.
if we build
Yeah.
this, go ahead.
Well, Kirk, Ron, and Larry. You have the three Godfathers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've reached out to any of the other Hasbro artists like Cassaday or any of those guys, but those are the three Godfathers. Those are the three, like, we all know them, we all revere them,
Mm-hmm.
and we all have our sort of neat stories of meeting them and um, and getting that sort of FaceTime. They don't know who we all are, right? We're
No.
millions of us, but with the Joe community, it seems to have grown in 2018 when I thought in 2016 it was dying. Um, so I'm excited for you, man. This is really a special thing that you have going on.
Yeah.
Um, with some of the artists that you have coming, like Atkins and Kickley, you mentioned also you had some local stuff that may not be Joe specific, but are certainly something that you're helping from a community, like a local community driver that you're doing.
Well, when I started the show last year, there hadn't been a show here in Augusta in 25 years. And it's the second largest city in Georgia. It's got over 100,000 people here. Okay, so why am I always driving out of Augusta to go to Columbia, to Charlotte, to Atlanta? People are driving through here, but they're not stopping. There's got to be a fix to it. So local comic shop here, they had like free comic book day. They would do like local artists and whatnot. So I started going out and recruiting. I started meeting the local guys. Last year I gave them tables. Even had the high school come out last year and set it up outside. They
That's
raised some
fantastic.
money. But We've since grown 2 stores here locally. Everybody, at first it was like, it was a competition thing, like the groups. Other store owners weren't with the other store owners. Well, after we all kind of got together last year, there's been a little bit more getting along.
So I think that's amazing, and something that when I would look at your website, I didn't expect to see it, but I always have it in my mind, and I'm kind of curious from your angle, is for those of us that do travel that aren't familiar with Augusta, are you putting together a list of like the local comic book and toy shops so that not only are we spending money at the convention, but we can also get out and put some money into the Augusta local community?
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
The last year, the week before the show, I had posted everything from here to Savannah. If you wanted to take a day trip to Savannah, you go here, go there.
That's awesome.
You got to support the local guy.
Yeah, we're going to support the show. We're there for the show. But as you mentioned earlier, once you've walked around the floor a couple times, you might need a break. And being able to get out into the community and support those local businesses it's a boon to them.
There's a little shop downtown, and it's little, but it's packed. I mean, it's like a vendor's booth. You walk in there, you can't see it all because it's everywhere. Richard Mann actually went there today. He messaged me and goes, "I'm in town," and he sent me a big thank you after. He goes, "It was amazing." I mean, the stuff is so well priced. It's like being at a show. So I'm trying to work with him to where maybe on Friday before the show opens, that we can have maybe one of the guests come out there and hey, come see me here. And we've got another shop just on the other side of the show that's comics and all newer toys, but he does get some occasional vintage stuff. It sells quickly. I'm trying to figure out something that we could get them, everybody out during the day on Friday, because people will be getting here on Friday. We got the custom class on Friday with J.E. Russell.
What brings people out? Karaoke. I don't know if there's G.I. Joe karaoke that can be done, or maybe just 80s karaoke, because this is all from the 80s, but karaoke seems to bring people out. I don't know. I'm not sure. You seem like you've got a really good handle on event planning, so I don't want to step on toes, but just think karaoke, right?
This is where the Viper Spit lost Derek.
Yeah.
I can
karaoke.
We've booked half the restaurant over at Carolina Ale House for the Rudad dinner. And they've got an outdoor screen portion, but it's got fans, and it's got a full service bar, and they got a stage.
Oh yeah.
So nothing better than a drunk Sergeant Slaughter.
Well, and that's that's what I'm envisioning, is some kind of like a trio of, or even like something from Grease, right, where you can have Larry Hama maybe and Ron Rudat singing songs from Grease after a couple drinks, of course. But so, there's potential for goodness there, I think.
Yeah. We tried, Rap Viper.
Yeah.
Yep.
I tried getting him here. The problem is that I couldn't find a venue here in Augusta that could do it. We got one little place downtown, and I wouldn't put my friends down there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So,
because I had talked to Larry that if we were to get him, then maybe him and Rap Viper would perform, and he was all in on it.
Right.
So that's why I think 2020 is maybe got to be out of Augusta. I don't know. Got to see what the attendance is, see how we do.
Right.
But if we had a bigger area with more accessibility to things, and and some people voice that they don't want to see it move every year. They want to just know where it is so they can plan.
Right.
That was part of the hang up for me with when I got more serious about collecting Joe, and just trying to. I like to, when I travel somewhere, I like to hopefully land in a spot where I know somebody, which obviously doesn't always work. Luckily for me, I do have a really good friend in Augusta, but with JoeCon, and I understand why they did it. Obviously, they tried to make it easier for different portions of the country to come, but it's like I kind of missed the year that would have been the most ideal for me, and then it was just it was not in the cards to kind of know where it was going. I like to know where I can plan for a year, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's I mean I get it on I see the other hand of it, where if you were going to JoeCon every year, it would have probably been exciting to have it rotate around the country. That way you're spending 4 to 5 days in a new spot instead of like the same thing over and over. But I guess I'm more of a man of routine, so I kind of I like the idea of kind of being in a more a set location, especially and again it works for me that I do have a really good friend in Augusta, so
Yeah.
He's pulling my leg here, so. But I don't, the biggest thing is see how we do this year, and then take a couple weeks off and regroup.
Well,
exactly.
When you talk about moving around, you also come up against the whole idea of international. Have you thought about anything like that, or is that? I mean, that's obviously not a near-term thing, but it's something I think that JoeCon didn't take advantage of. And I mean, I wasn't part of their business. I don't know the reasons, but they never made it overseas.
The thing about JoeCon that I always noticed with their shows is that they were always in the South. Maybe not the Southeast, but the Southwest. They were, occasionally they headed up in New York, once, twice. But mostly it was South, And I've, doing some research, because I'd love to actually go back home to New York and do this. But up there, with the unions, you got to pay them to unload. And, I'm starting to research bigger places, and it's like, wow, there's so much more to it, Here, it's just this, go to the hotel, book the place, set it up, pull it down, go,
Yeah, I was gonna say that for the unions in New York. I mean, you can't do anything. I used to go to the CES and CTIA with the company I work with every year, and we weren't even allowed to plug in structures that rotated. We had a sign that spun around and it had a cord that hung down and a power strip, and they yelled at us for taking it and plugging it in. That was against union regulation. Somebody had to get paid $150 to come in and plug that in. And that's it was so, and that was Vegas where that was usually held. But that's how the unions were there. Places like Chicago and New York, I can't even imagine the cost associated with somebody plugging in things for you up there. It would be prohibitive.
The thing about JoeFest to me was, after I left JoeCon for the last time, the one thing that I didn't like about JoeCon, and I wanted to change, was the cost. Right? Mm-hmm. The price of the ticket, the price of what the vendors were paying for tables, the price of the exclusives. Now I know they're official Hasbro product. I understand it's more to it. But a lot of times, for guys like me, work for a living, I went in there, I bought the exclusives. I was broke. I couldn't go shopping with the vendors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if your vendors aren't happy making money, then what's the point? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So to me, it was a good equation what they did, but it needed some tweaking. Right. So, last year was $5. I hate it. I raised it to 10 general admission this year. I hated it, but once all the guests started rolling in, I had to offset the cost,
Right. Yeah.
But, if you go to like Heroes Con and all, that's $20-$25. So I felt that 10, was still pretty affordable.
That's reasonable.
Even if you brought a family. Mm-hmm. Family, 2 kids is free, 2 adults is $20. So.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to bring up. Thank you I completely forgot about that. Your kids are free is up to 12 years old?
12, but I might squeak a little bit more in after age.
But
I mean,
my point is, like, a lot of them are like 6 and 7 is where the cutoff is. You're going all the way to 12.
No,
It's
and even at that last
really
year, I mean,
fantastic.
if somebody comes up with it's a teenager, it's as big as Jason there, and goes, well, they're 12, we're not stopping them.
Man, if you were any more generous, Joel would get in for free.
That's true. I might have to
Joel.
dye the grays out of my hair, and I'll try to sneak in as a teenager.
Yeah, you're still in your 20s, aren't you,
Just
Joel?
an old baby.
Yeah.
I'll be 30 by the time JoeFest hits.
All right, so you might hit the cutoff at that point. Yeah, you might. Ed can't look to
I'll
the
get
side
a pinwheel hat and a lollipop.
There you go.
Yeah.
I just seeing that was really surprising.
Even last year, it's like if people came up to the table, because it was the first time a con's been in Augusta in so long, and they're like, my wife's like looking at them, and they're peeking around the corner, going, "Oh, what's this?" And she's like $5, and they go in their pocket and they got like $2.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they got in at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to build it.
It's very similar to I still am pretty active in the music scene up here. I play in a few bands up here, but it's we do a lot of stuff in smaller, not bar venues, and it's like are you gonna turn someone down over a few bucks? If we're asking for $7 to get in and they got 4 or 5, of course we're gonna let them in because they're going to be at the show, they're going to experience the show, and they might spend the rest of their money to buy a T-shirt or a record or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's like, especially with G.I. Joe being at this point, it's like this is it for Joe stuff is fans putting on their own event. Mm-hmm. And it's like it's the same thing. Are you going to chase somebody out for a few dollars that could turn into somebody, even if they just start buying comics or something? Anything to get anybody interested in the brand is good in my eyes.
See, I'm not doing this to become rich you know what I mean? Right. I'm doing it for the fun of it. To me, I'm having a blast doing this, planning it and all. But
listening to you talk, you can hear that. And I was you mentioned it, but I was going to say something about it. Is there are so many people, not just in the Joe community, but just in the toy collecting community, that are just 100% trying to milk every dime they can out of everybody who comes through there, so much so that you can tell that the passion and the love for what they do is gone. It's now just a means to acquire money. And listening to you talk, you don't hear any of that. What you hear is the guy like, this is really cool, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. And I honestly believe that that's part of the reason why you've had such the huge growth from year one to coming on year 2, and I can see why people are wanting to support this and get behind it. The whole community, at least on Twitter and Instagram, people are really excited for JoeFest, and honestly, I think you obviously deserve a large part of the credit for organizing it, but also your enthusiasm, I think, goes a long way into why people feel the way they do about it. So, high five on that.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's sometimes it's a little overkill. Sometimes it's a little bit overposting, Mm-hmm. But sometimes I'm just sitting there, or if I'm at work and I'm like, I got to put something out there. I got to keep the interest going, and
mm-hmm.
It's a new way of doing things, though, in my mind. I mean, there's some shows that just post like, hey, so and so's coming,
right,
and then you see nothing again,
right?
It's like, well, what if somebody just liked the page now and didn't see it then,
right?
And I promote a lot of the vendors. I tag their where you can find them or how you can reach them. It doesn't matter who you are. I want to change the philosophy to a point, So we were talking before about the guests. Did you want to hear the story on Sergeant Slaughter?
Yes.
Absolutely.
See, that's the thing about the show here. It kept getting bigger and bigger this year because opportunities kept coming. One of the cosplayers, she was on Twitter, and she sent out a picture of herself as Sergeant Slaughter, and she tagged Sergeant Slaughter in it, and she said, "I hope to wear this to JoeFest." And I kept trying to message him and all, but when you're the small fish in the pond there,
Yeah.
you know, big agents, they're not seeing you so much, you know. So, well, he sort of tweet. He's very active on Twitter.
Yes.
And I've talked to the agent. He runs his own Twitter. That's him every day.
Nice.
Oh wow.
So he sent out a tweet. He goes, you know, nice costume, whatever. And he goes, how can you have a JoeFest without a real American hero?
Mm-hmm.
The deal was done within an hour.
Nice.
That's amazing.
But see, the thing, you know, there was talk that he couldn't go to JoeCon because of licensing and all that. And, you know, I had asked about that. He goes, there was never nothing like that. He goes, nobody ever contacted me to come.
Wow. That's strange.
So,
well,
why
Joel,
wouldn't you?
Jason, you guys are going to JoeFest, right? And I'm not saying I'm out. I've just got to cancel this trip to Disneyland with my family, and then I'm in. All right, guys. But
We got Disney World like 6 hours away. So.
yeah, yeah. No, that's true. So I had asked Sergeant Slaughter to come on the Viper Pit and you know, as a guest, and he said, well, I'll be at JoeFest. Come see me there. So now officially, I'm taking that and then, hey, Sarge, you said we could talk to you at JoeFest. So Joel, Jason, I'm gonna find that. You guys, when you find Slaughter, you tell him that he said we could talk to him at JoeFest. So I'm counting that one.
You know, talking with his agent, he says he's very personable. He's very accessible.
Yeah.
He wants to be part of this.
Yeah. Oh, and I can believe that just because of how active he is on Twitter. You know, with people who, you know, do sketches of him. My buddy Steve did a sketch of him. Even his Iraqi sympathizer wrestling garb he was in, he did that, and Sarge liked it and gave him a compliment. And it just makes him even so much more endearing, because a lot of us kids who grew up in that time, I mean, I liked him from wrestling and G.I. Joe. I mean, he was a crossover superstar in my world. So the fact that you grow up and you talk to him and he is just as every bit as cool as you had hoped and thought he would be, is nice, because unfortunately not all of the people you look up to when you're young end up being the same thing when you're older. So, and I noticed, speaking of wrestling, is that Marty Jannetty who's going to be at the show?
Yeah.
How did that happen? How did Marty Jannetty happen?
Well, again, it's opportunities. You know, it's all opportunities. Jason, do you know CJ Theroux?
Yes.
He's up there by you. He's in Tennessee, right?
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure where he's at, but we've talked.
He messaged me, I'm going to say about 3-4 weeks ago now. He goes, would you be interested in Marty Jannetty? And me being a dummy, I said, I'm thinking Joe's, you know? And I go,
Right.
Okay, yeah, but who is Marty Jannetty? And he sent the picture, and I was like, oh, man, I just ruined that, you know? I said, yeah. I said, I would love to.
Right.
He goes, yeah. He goes, you give us a table, we'll come down. Done deal.
Nice.
Just opportunities, you know what I mean? You just take them.
And that's a draw, too. Again, there is a lot of crossover between the G.I. Joe and the wrestling community. I didn't realize it, because I used to do mostly just wrestling stuff, but as soon as I came over here and I would occasionally post wrestling stuff, a ton of the Joe guys were jumping in on it, and they knew the references, they knew everything. So Marty Jannetty's a pretty slick get, in my opinion.
Do you know?
Go ahead.
Do you know Hank Garrett, Dial Tone, that's coming? He's actually a Hall of Fame wrestler.
Amateur wrestler? Nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was actually in the Olympics.
Really?
Wow.
So he was another real American hero as well. Awesome.
I talked to him on the phone. I was talking to his agent, all right? And she goes, Hank wants to talk to you. And it come out to being that him and the agent have been a thing for a long time, I guess.
Okay.
So he gets on the phone. Great guy. Amazing guy, all right? And he starts telling me about how he's got this cologne that he's pitching, tough guy cologne, and he says he was a wrestler. You know, he's an older guy. He's got his gimmicks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was another one that reached out to me.
That's great. What's it? So you talked to him on the phone, right? And you obviously you watched the cartoon, I assume, when you were younger. Right. So what's it on the phone? Does it sound like Dial Tone? I mean, is that what you hear when?
Yeah.
I mean, that would just blow me away to just start talking to these people. And I had mentioned to Joel and Jason, it's not really a secret, but I'm trying to get Kenny Holliday, the voice of Roadblock, on the podcast. I don't know how accessible he is. I don't know if he's somebody who does shows anymore. Based on what I've seen, it doesn't look like he does very much. But in my mind, I've played the conversation where I contact him and ask him to come on the show, and I can just hear him from the cartoon, and I just start like almost giggling as a grown man because of how much I'm going to nerd out. And when you said you were talking to Hank Garrett, I just envisioned the same type of thing there. That's got to be so exciting for you as a Joe fan, because you're kind of living a dream for all of us here,
I mean, I was delivering mail, and I sent her to text her my number. I said call anytime.
Right.
The phone rings. I'm talking to dial tone.
Yeah.
I mean, I about ran over a mailbox. I'm not gonna kid you. I mean, that's what I'm telling you. This is fun. This is like ultimate playtime, because you're coordinating something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, last year Heroes Con on Sunday. All right, I always go Sundays because there's less people. All right, but anyway, I got a PM pops up. It says, "I'm Storm Shadow." He goes, "Why don't you invite me to JoeFest?"
Really? Wow.
Promise you.
I dropped. I think I dropped out, so I missed your question there, Ed. Apologize.
No, I was telling him last year at Heroes Con on Sunday, the PM pops up. I was standing in line for an autograph, from one of the artists, and it pops up and it says Keone Young, and it says, "I'm Storm Shadow. Why don't you invite me to JoeFest?"
That's awesome,
man.
I dropped the comic book where I was standing, and I started shaking. And I showed my wife, and I said, "Here's our big guess,"
Mm-hmm.
So I replied back, as I've been, emailing your agents, but I said I only had a 1-year show.
Mm-hmm.
I said nobody's listening to me.
Right.
He goes, "Well, I heard you out here in California." He goes, "I want to come."
That's
the next day we had a signed contract.
That's fantastic.
They'll hear you in year 3 for certain.
Huh?
I said they're going to hear you in year 3. That's for sure.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
It's incredible.
It's all opportunities. That's all this has been.
Mm-hmm.
I still would love to pull out the refrigerator Perry. I mean, he lived 20 minutes from here. So.
Oh shit.
Yeah, my wife is friends with his daughter. So
nice. That would be another one.
Trying. We are trying. I mean, that could be one of those things you never know, that maybe at the last minute he decides to come over.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So
you still got some tricks. I mean, it's an impressive guest list, as Jason was saying before. So you're looking for additional guests at this point?
We are full.
Okay, you're full now. Okay.
We are full, but
you have to get a bigger venue.
If Refrigerator Perry calls me and says he wants to come,
right.
Somebody will be out in the parking lot somewhere. I mean, we'll find a spot for him.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
We got another guy, and this is a heads up for you guys, but I got a guy that's trying to do a Kickstarter, because I've reached my limit as far as celebrities go, as airfare and all that. John Royal, that does the comics covers for A-Raw now.
Mm-hmm.
He lives in the United Kingdom. He's never been here. He's never been to any convention in the United States, and he wants to come here badly. Nice. And they're trying to get a Kickstarter.
That'd be very cool.
So that could be a last minute addition.
That'd be a fun thing that'd be a fun thing to jump in on too.
Yeah, he's trying to do that, and he's also trying to get an exclusive comic cover done for JoeFest.
Nice.
Kind of pay for it all. So I told him I would take care of the hotel and and then the food and all that stuff. And I said if he takes care of the airfare.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's amazing.
It's another opportunity.
Could use this segue to talk about the. I was a big fan of the exclusives you guys did last year.
Mm-hmm. Billy?
Well, I was looking at the ones that Roma Collectibles did for you guys with the it was like the Action Force kind of like Kit Bash repainted guys. But that
I
was
didn't
really
get
awesome.
most of that stuff either, by the way.
That stinks. I think it's awesome that you for this year you have what is it? Is it Short Bus Customs that did?
Yep.
I just think it's cool that you you got a pretty well known customizer within the community to jump in and make the exclusives. I think that's another thing that it was very impressive to me that it was. It's like a guy I follow on Instagram, and I follow all of his work because I think it's amazing, and he's the guy cranking out the exclusives for the show that I'm hoping to get my hands on.
Yeah, I've been friends with him for a while. I actually started I went up to Ohio last year for that Ohio Toy and Comic Show. He lives like 5 minutes from there, and I went down to his house, and his whole basement is just nothing but a customizer dream,
Yeah.
But he got all the parts casted.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they're casted in the Night Force colors.
So which is awesome. I'm a huge Night Force fan, and I noticed the JoeFest logo also, resembles some Night Force, and I assume that comes from you. Are you a Night Force guy?
Big time.
Okay, I was thinking. I mean, with the Night Force exclusives this year, and then the logo, I started to assume that you were probably a bit of a Night Force guy as well. So.
The way I feel about it, they could have did the whole line in Night Force, and I would have been happy.
Yeah, no, I would have liked that too. And I feel like Night Force doesn't get the credit it deserves. It's overshadowed by the much more obnoxiously colored Tiger Force.
Yes.
And this is not like I've developed my own personal rivalry with Tiger Force because it's not Night Force, and I feel like Night Force doesn't get the credit. Nobody else probably has this rivalry in their head, but to me, I just feel like there's something there. There's a competition between those two, and I'm happy that I can count on you to be on Team Night Force. If things ever go sideways and it comes down to it, I know there's some more Night Force support here.
Good wrestling promo.
Yes.
Listen here, brother.
The other one too. What the heck other one did we announce? We've got so many that I haven't announced yet. We get a Basilic coming out
in Night Force colors.
Iron Grenadier colors.
Oh, that's awesome too. That's another group that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, we did that.
I'm looking at it right now. You have what looks like to be a Wolverine.
Yes. Do you know that cool rope? We actually got casted in that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All the missiles casted, so it's like it won't rub off. It's not like a custom where you can't.
So is there going to be a way for people not at the show to get a hold of this stuff? I'm asking for myself, of course.
Well, you got two friends going to the show. So.
Yeah, no, that's true. But are you guys still going to be my friends when it comes time to resell them to me, or what?
Did you see what the Billies went for last year?
No, I did not.
That shirt. Oh, I need that shirt.
I got one myself. I mean, if you look them up on eBay under past sales, search JoeFest, you're talking $300, $350.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man. Gold head ring.
The cold slither, he went upwards to $500. I never even got one of those.
That was an amazing. When that got announced last year, I was like, I almost was gonna try to have my Augusta buddy go down and try to grab me a couple of the exclusives. But yeah.
First 2 minutes in, they were gone.
Oh my God.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see about getting there somehow.
So, well, it's a big boa.
Oh, I saw that in the background of one of the pictures I was looking at.
Yeah, it's a big boa, but female.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
At carded. I'm gonna have a girl there. She's gonna be dressed up as that. So I try to do a cosplay variant each year, where they can come out and sign autographs and whatnot, and I always give them as a thank you a figure of them.
Mm-hmm.
With that, With that, Ed, who is the what is the 501st garrison in your region that's going to be? I know you have some guest stars, but who's your regional 501st garrison?
The Southern Command, it's called. Yeah, they usually come out. I know Alex is coming. Alex Thorne, the new guy that runs the Finest. Joe Colton is coming back.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to see some Tiger Hawks.
Yeah, they said Alex said they were coming.
Oh, very good.
So
there's some sweethearts in that group.
I want to do a group photo shoot of those guys where they're outside doing a battle scene where they can have like different factions fighting each other. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I want to fight Tank. I want to have a backdrop. I want to do something special for the Finest. So,
well, since you have Sergeant Slaughter, see how many will dress up as bats and run at him.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to sign waivers though, so when he's throwing them over his head, they can't press charges.
Well, we haven't announced yet, but we have. Last year we did Billy. This year we're doing Tommy.
Nice.
Because there's Keone Young there, and we figure he could autograph Tommy.
Yeah.
We're doing O-ring and modern style this year.
Awesome.
All the heads are custom. They're new cast.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be sweet.
It's I know the guy that does them. He's doing an unmaxed Snake Eyes.
Nice.
Like issue 94 through 96 unmasked?
Yeah, where you see the scar down the eye and the eyes enlarged. That's good to be the one that's going to be.
That's amazing.
They're doing a Sergeant Slaughter with a battle helmet. Like you would, like an army helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the old Patton.
Yes.
Helmet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they got a WWF or whatever you want to call it now, belt.
Nice.
In May for the figure too.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
So,
yeah.
Damn it, Ed.
Something for everybody to get autographed.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
I was already excited. Now it's worse.
Yeah.
I'm bringing all these Robos. Did you see the Roma bringing 7 Robo Skulls?
Yes, I did see their post.
That's good to go. That's
Aaron's good people.
Yeah, he said he bought out an entire collection overseas, and he's saving it just for JoeFest. So
that's
I recently went to his or the show that he put on in Fairborn, Ohio.
Yep.
It was actually funny because it was tiny. And it was about a 7-hour drive. Again, luckily I had a friend who lives in Columbus, so I drove there the night before, stayed there. And I walked in, I was like looking around, like the first stretch there wasn't much Modern Joe. And I was like, I had that sinking feeling that I'm sure everybody's had when you go to either a toy show or whatever, and there's like nothing for you to buy. But this, I was like, oh my god, I just drove 7 hours, like. And then I just turned the corner and it was like, there was more stuff that I could afford to buy. So, but it was awesome to I've listened to all the different G.I. Joe podcasts for the past few years, and you hear all these names thrown out, like different guys that have been in women too, that have been in the community for so long. And then as I'm walking in to get to the show, I see I see the guy from Roma Collectibles. I see his wife is actually who put the wristband on my wife and I. And I'm just seeing all these people that I've heard about and seen online, and I actually met James Kavanaugh, and it was just such a cool thing because I've heard him talk for hours and hours on end on podcasts, and I just see him walk by with a box of his books, and I was like, hey, what's up? And it was,
he's a good guy. He really is.
It was a cool show. It was very very friendly, which was nice, and like the couple little toy shows we have up here, it's like. People are not that warm, so it was it was nice to see people it was a very positive experience.
Yeah. Yeah, they're good people. I went last year the first time to their show, and this year they're doing it the same weekend as Kentuckiana.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Well, that's interesting because Aaron usually sets up at Kentuckiana.
yeah.
Kentuckiana is a 12-inch show that the 3
Is it?
3/4 people have invaded.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you ever did any of the 12-inch, Ed. I personally don't. So when I walk in, 12-inch to me is the Greek to my English.
Yes.
Like I know this is where my language comes from, and I find that language beautiful, but I don't write it, I don't speak it.
I go to Atlanta every year, like you're saying, all right? And now that I've started going, Atlanta to me is mostly a 12-inch show. I buy one each year just because I'm there for 3 days, and I almost feel like I got to give back to the generation before me. I got to take one home,
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Let me ask this.
Something.
So, were you a 12-inch collector before, Ed?
No.
No. Okay. I need to. I'm trying to ask
They're
somebody.
dolls.
Like the 12-inch collectors, when the 3 3/4 came out, did the 12-inch collectors also complain about the new moderns at that time too, or is that just now the current moderns get complained about by the 3 3/4?
I led a panel last year in Atlanta, and I had it was like a generation walkthrough.
Okay.
I had keynote speakers start from the 12-inch from the very beginnings all the way through us, the modern stuff now.
Right.
And it was interesting because I learned a lot. I
Yeah.
actually learned about a figure called Mike Powers, has robotic arms and all.
Yep.
And it comes to the fact that they hated that figure. Why? They said it came out at the end. It wasn't classic Joe. It was just, as soon as I left that panel, I went out to the floor and bought one.
Yeah.
Because it summed it all up. But at the end of the panel, I got up there and I stood in front of the whole crowd there, and I had one of the 3 3/4, and I looked at all of them in the face and I said, "How come you didn't buy this?"
Right.
And it was like dead silence, and they all looked at each other like, I got nothing to say. I don't know why I didn't.
Right.
But I did. So.
Yeah. I see the Mike Powers one now, and that's the one that they didn't. It looks kind of cool though, right? I mean,
picked it up for complete for $25.
Yeah.
Because they hate it.
Mike Powers is the 90 to 94 A-Raw.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But just the look on their faces, why didn't you buy this? They were dumbfounded. They said, one of them said, because we just didn't, because that's not ours.
Right. No, there's...
Because you see O-ring collectors and you see modern can be the same. I do just,
Yeah.
But you don't see 12-inch and 3 3/4. It just doesn't happen together. The same person collecting both.
No, it does. It does seem like it is a completely separate animal.
Generational too.
Yeah.
A lot of us that collect modern are the same as we're the same generation as the O-ring collectors, and we're just basically collecting a modern revision of the first 12 years.
Well,
whereas there is no outside of 1994, that very limited set, they didn't make 3 3/4 of the 12-inch. They didn't make a bridge for the 12-inch guys to come over to go from their generation, our dad's generation, to our generation.
Right, but the time gap between when the original 12-inch ended, now I've completely forgotten, but I had this in mind. It started in 64?
Mm-hmm.
And it went 12 years, didn't it? Go to 76?
Something like that.
So then the next one, the 82, went 12 years as well. And the difference was about, they had 6 years, and then it went 94. So I guess there's actually a longer gap between the moderns from the original 3 3/4 than the 12-inch to the 3 3/4.
Not really.
Well, why is that? Because of the bridge,
you went
mean?
from 90. Well, you went from 94 right
To
to
07.
97, 97 all the way to 2006, and then boom, right over into modern.
Right. Well, that's
So
no, you're right. If you're
we've
counting
been
those ones in there.
engaged for longer than 12 years. Most of us only chased 12 years, but we've been engaged for 30.
So, but the post 94 stuff until 2007, a lot of people gloss over that as not really counting, right? I mean, and there was that time period in late 90s, early 2000s where those figures looked kind of like what the modern World Peacekeeper figures look like. And I can't find anybody who collects those. And I'm not obviously I look, if you're listening now and you collect them, I'm not putting down what you like. To me it's not my thing. But yeah, it's kind of a weird gray area. If you were to ask any like hardcore GI Joe fan about GI Joe in 2001, they probably aren't going to have a whole lot of information on it. Was that Hasbro or mostly customs or not customs but like convention exclusives?
There was, I actually, again, because I am 29,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the young buck here.
Yeah.
I actually did buy a pretty good, I actually have them under my desk, but like a pretty good handful of like the New Sculpt era stuff. And as a kid, I had a bunch of like garage sale, like 90s and not really nothing from the early 80s, obviously, but a lot of 90s Joes and a lot of the old Leonard figures that were just, O-ring Joes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember I stumbled into like a KB Toys when I was probably like 11 or 12, and I got a bunch
I would have
of
been 30 at the
stuff.
time. But go ahead.
And I got like there's like a night attack chopper or something that's actually pretty cool. I have it sitting somewhere over there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean the figures. I think that if they would have had the technology to make what they were aiming for, I think they would have been like a pretty cool toy line. Obviously, like the proportions are just unforgivable. Like they look like some of them look like Dorito chips. They almost look like the Batman animated series where
they're
broad shoulders that go down into like
tiny waists. Yeah,
but like
childbearing hips.
It's actually this vest that I'm working on for that the custom or the Kit Bash G.I. Joe Extreme guy.
Mm-hmm.
This vest is
actually
Iron the Spy Troops.
Mm-hmm.
And it should not fit this massive modern Leatherhead body, but because the proportions are so off, it fits perfectly. But that was something that I got really excited about when I was like that age, was because they had so much gear.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like a modern figure now, where you can take the vest off, you can do anything you want because everything comes apart. But figures were junk. Even at that age, like I would open them and I was just like, and I had a few with like the T crotch, and I was like, this is not a G.I. Joe, like this is a bootleg, but it came from Hasbro.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I don't think that line or that era will kind of ever have because obviously now a lot of people have warmed up to the neon 90s, but I don't think that the Joe vs. Cobra or Spy Troops era will ever get its day in the sun, and it's just because I think introducing a lot of new characters was awesome. I think a lot of the stuff they were aiming for could have been a home run if the technology could have produced the toys the way they were, I think, with what they were going for. It just did not. It did not translate well at all. And it says when you can get a carded Valor versus Venom figure for like $1, it really something. Yeah. It's almost like the Spawn figures, that like the McFarlane Spawn figures that you see carded from 20 years ago that people can't give away.
Right. Well, and this.
What do you guys think of the Bobby Valor? What he's working on, the 6-inch figures?
I am not a 6-inch collector, but that being said,
you're a Bobby Valor fan, so
yeah, I like to support. I like to support the community. So, if I like what he's doing, which all the teasers look awesome,
Yeah.
So I'll probably go in on the Kickstarter. Maybe not like, all in, but I will probably get 2 or 3 figures just because, he's a voice in our community and he seems like a very cool and nice guy, and I appreciate the care he has for G.I. Joe.
Yep.
So, and I like to support the people that have helped create the things that I love.
Interesting story about him, Dan Klingensmith. He contacted me and he wanted 3 tables. It's okay. He goes, I want to bring a friend of mine that's going to unveil his new toy line. I was just, okay, whatever, it sounds cool, right? I like creative stuff, so he paid for the 3 tables and whatnot. And I would say like a month later, I get a message from Bobby Valla, and he goes, did they ever tell you who that creator was that was going to be unveiling online? No. He goes, that's me.
Nice.
I was like, well, damn, I wouldn't have charged you for a table if I'd known that.
Right,
But,
yeah.
So, yeah,
Nice.
it's kind of cool.
No, it is. We got a little bit sidetracked before that, but I was going to ask you, Ed, what was your favorite era? Do you have a favorite era of G.I. Joe?
Yeah, the 82's on, but I'm one of the weird ones. I like the green shirts.
Yeah.
And I like the straight arms. Straight arms. Straight. Like toy soldiers. It's weird, but I can't. If I see one, I buy it. It doesn't.
Is it the nostalgia factor? Like, cause were those? Yeah, those are the first Joes you had, so you probably have a lot of sentimental attachment to that.
When the swivels came out, I was actually kind of mad. I remember as a kid going, now I got to buy them all over again,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I didn't think it would stick, but it did. So
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So with JoeFest now, I don't know if you were expecting this type of growth from year 1 to year 2, but the growth that you've had in year 2 has to be having you think about year 3. How much thought have you put into year 3, and what kind of things that you can tell us about anyway are kind of rolling around in your mind for the direction you want to see this go?
Year 3, let's put it this way. I said this year was opportunities. I really wanted 1 or 2 guests.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and then all of a sudden it just started one after another, just kind of fell to you.
Yeah.
And it felt right, So, year 3, we've already sold more tickets online than we did all last year. Let's put it that way. Nice. So that's a good sign.
Yeah.
We sold out Friday and Saturday night in a hotel. Last year we sold like 25 rooms.
Mm-hmm.
This year we sold the whole building out.
Nice.
Now we're on to another building. So, okay, it's looking good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I contacted a guy the other day. I said, we need to come up with a theme for 2020, but we need to I want to make a new vehicle. I want to make something never been done. I want something.
Mm-hmm.
And I says, Hasbro's got their own stuff. I can't be doing Hasbro stuff. So
right.
It's in the pre-planning stages now. I want to, I want to do something unique, but I also want to do a theme about it too. When I say 2020 out loud, I kind of think space.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It sounds like
No, I like that.
far-off number. So,
well,
and we're actually talking about doing it in a box and leaving it with, doing blueprints, having the stickers.
That would be amazing.
Just, like the old days where you go to the toy store and you buy a toy and you go home. That's part of the what's missing is that you can't go home and build nothing.
Yeah. No, that's true. That would be awesome.
That's
I guess
kind of some of the ideas.
So I guess for something like that, you're probably keeping a close eye on the Marv Kickstarter to see how successful that is. Yeah.
I'm trying to get him to come. I really am.
That'd be awesome.
I am backing him to the highest extent that he had. So.
Yeah. Yeah, Greg's a good guy. I had Victor Garcia coming with the VSS.
Victor's a
But
great kid.
he said that his budget just didn't allow him to travel. I says, well, keep an eye on us. If you like what we're doing next year, you got the same spot if you want it. So,
Yeah.
I tried telling him, you're promoting on Facebook and all that, but people need to come out and see it.
They really do. It was very impressive at JoeCon to see it set up.
Yep, and I want to
support. He didn't even have the bridge at that point.
Yeah, and for what they were charging him for a booth and all, I told him, you come, I'm not charging you. I want people to see this. I want them to build. I wanted to see it, touch it. So,
yeah,
like I said, we all got to work together.
My son and I both grabbed shirts from him. So.
Yeah, I did too.
So we together sport our VCC shirts.
I actually got 3 people in this community the other day because I wore it down in Jacksonville. I was passing out postcards for the show at all the toy shops, and they're like, "What is that? What is that?" So.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I guess everything's looking good. It's just, well, let's do this now.
So for for those of you out there listening, and you haven't gotten your tickets to JoeFest, how can they get those, Ed?
It's Eventbrite, and it's also, we have a website, Augusta Toy and Comic Show, oneword.com, and it has a link on there on the top of the main page to Eventbrite. So.
And that's where they can get the show tickets, hotel tickets, or I guess not tickets to a hotel, but they can book rooms to the hotel.
Like I said, the main venue sold out, but our place that we held the event at last year, which is 5 miles away, exactly 5 minutes. It's in a good part of town, all that stuff. They gave us the same $99 rate.
Nice.
So that's the one advantage of being in Augusta, is the prices are down.
Yeah.
It's like Chattanooga was what, $150, whatever it was, $160 a night. So there are some advantages. So.
No, definitely. And then also, if you can't get a room, hit up Joel. His friend probably has more room for you guys to come stay on that couch as well.
If you can find.
yeah. He may start ghosting people around the time of the convention, but just tell him Derek said it was cool, and you can go stay with Joel. Just meet him at the show, and he'll take you back there. It's totally not creepy at all.
But if you guys, you do want to make it, and like you said, you want to talk to Sarge, I'll see what I can do to maybe, get a private spot for you guys to do this.
That would be awesome. We would obviously greatly appreciate that.
Yeah.
What else is there anything else that we haven't talked about on the show that you want to tell us about the show? I mean, I'm pretty much sold right now. If there's any way I can possibly make it, I wanted to go before, but now after hearing all this, I've gotten all the excitement going, and it's going to be hard to try and keep me away from there. But is there anything else that you haven't told us or haven't put out there yet that we can share with any of the listeners that might sway some more votes?
The crazy part is that people I thought you were done announcing guests.
Mm-hmm.
And I promise you I am.
Right.
I'm not going to lie to you. If somebody else comes knocking on the door,
right, that's
too good to believe. I mean, so stay tuned. We still got 4 months to go. So.
Absolutely. Well, Ed, thank you for your time tonight.
Yes.
We talked about 30 minutes to an hour, and you gave us 2 hours, and we appreciate it.
Yeah.
And again, I'm looking forward to meeting you face to face in just a couple weeks at Toylanta.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to hit you up about Heroes Con so we can maybe get a drink or something there, and then JoeFest. Your baby.
We'll have a table at Atlanta. Me and 80s Toys of Princeton, we're going to set up a couple things for sale, but it's mostly promotion. When you walk down the hallway, the venue, you walk down there, it's going to be the first hallway to the left, it's going to be us. So just hit me up.
Awesome. So people who want to follow you on Twitter, what is your Twitter handle? And you're on Instagram as well, right?
Yeah, it's JoeFest Toy Comic.
Okay.
And same thing on Instagram. It's I believe it's JoeFest Toy Comic also. So, yeah.
All right, perfect. So
yeah,
guys, I'm sorry.
just search JoeFest. You'll see it. It's a pretty big beer festival over in Britain, so that's not us, obviously.
But
Awesome.
all right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Ed. It was great having you on. Awesome talk, and we're looking forward to JoeFest, and we know a lot of people out there are looking forward to it as well. And we want to thank you for putting on the show, because if you hadn't, we wouldn't have something this awesome to look forward to this year. So again, thank you very much.
No, I appreciate it, guys. This was fun. Thanks.
Definitely. And anytime you have another project or anything going forward, you want to get it out there. I mean, you do a great job of promoting your stuff already, but you can come back anytime, honestly, and we'd be happy to have you on to push forward the stuff that you're out there doing.
Yeah, or we could talk something else too.
Yeah.
That's cool too.
Karaoke.
Sure.
We can always talk karaoke if it comes back up.
Yeah, you don't want to hear that. So.
So.
But I am going to pursue the karaoke thing now.
Yeah, to me, that would be a historic moment if, like you said, a Sarge, after maybe a couple drinks in him, gets in there and he's cranking out a song. That's just, to me, man.
I'm thinking Storm Shadow though too.
Oh yeah, any of them. Man, you get Dial Tone and Storm Shadow up there, or yeah, it's gold right there. That is gold.
Before we cut you loose, who is your favorite Joe and who's your favorite Cobra?
Good question.
Ooh. Favorite Cobra. I'm just gonna go old school. I always like Cobra Officer. Just the plain soldier. I like the faceless. Those are the regular grunts.
Yeah.
Favorite Joe. Oh, that's a good question. It's a toss up between Flash. I hate to say it, Blowtorch.
Really?
Hey, not bad.
Yeah. Oh, come on, man. I like the neon. Everybody likes neon,
No,
right?
it's not even...
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Blowtorch doesn't seem to get a lot of love, but he was important enough that the modern line gave us, 50 variants.
They did, yeah.
Yeah. Just when it came out with all the accessories that it had, the backpack and then the mask, and
yeah,
that was unique,
It's a good figure,
yeah.
That was one of my earliest Joes, was Blowtorch.
He got killed a lot on the battlefield, but he always came back.
Yeah, of course. All right, Ed. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time. And
all right, guys.
Like care. I said, you're welcome back anytime.
All right. Thank you.
All righty. Take her easy.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.